ban the IPL.
Mrs. No, I won't go there.
You're going to say you only need 2 overseas players.
Why did you name your daughter India? What would have been the second option other than India?
There was no other option.
Pakistan.
No, there was. No, leave him hanging. No, I'm not shaking that. No.
You gotta do comedy, bro. That brought the house down. We better end here. Okay?
Right
Quit
then.
while we're ahead.
Good time, Tim. Love you guys. Thank you. India. Only
that
India.
would be great if you had 2 kids.
Oh, God. Modi ji said make in India.
Makhaya, I'm coming to Cape Town. You say who's the better fielder? On record. Kill him! Champions Trophy as we record this.
And the South Africans are actually good to come here and be slightly undercooked. Or the feeling that everybody has.
No one's
is
talking
that,
about them.
Exactly.
So it's, like
it's a best place to operate.
If they
from.
do win, remember, we had this conversation. So we know. All right, just took a catch very quickly. Didn't know if it made the vision. Duke's ball, the one that swings, and with me, 2 legends from South Africa and world cricket. Let's not say South Africa. The cricket world loves these guys. We have Jonty Rhodes and Makhaya Ntini. Spent many a day, many hours watching them play cricket for no reason whatsoever. Cost me 2 marriages, but who cares? Let's discuss the lives and times of these wonderful people. They're here for the International Masters League.
Correct.
How tough is that, idiot Cyrus? Yeah. And I must say, as usual, super fit. Hasn't aged a day. And Makhaya's pumped up. He looks like a bodybuilder now from the lean athlete that he once was. Nice to have you guys.
Thank you, Cyrus.
Thank you, Cyrus.
There you go. I've been forced to wear this blue hat, even though I've been supporting Australia for the last 3 years. Just kidding. Country can get quite dangerous. Yeah, great, guys. Great to have you here. Quick word about the legends. Watched some of it on TV on the weekend. People playing quite seriously. I would think, you guys would just be having a lark, but it's like serious cricket.
Yeah, it's interesting, Cyrus, because when the first sort of leagues came up, a lot of it was around about guys who've been retired for 5 or 6 or 7 years. And now they really are taking it seriously. So a lot of the young boys, I'm 56, I'm turning 56, yeah, so relatively under age 40, who've just retired or stepping into this format of the game, which A is great. Well, it's good for entertainment because it's quality cricket. So it's not just hey, let the guys get together and have a bit of a giggle and we can reminisce about how they used to play. Mm-hmm. So now you are under the pump a little bit, I must confess, getting back onto the field after having been away from the game for almost 20 years, me in my case. Mm-hmm. But for, I suppose to provide cricket that's also entertaining and it's not just a waltz down memory lane, but there's some good cricket to be played. So yeah, Sri Lanka versus India, the opening match was also really exciting. So some good shots played.
Yuvraj Singh took a catch.
Yeah, great catch on the boundary.
President 11 happy.
Yeah. No, comfortably.
Not bad.
Yeah, really comfortably. It was a great catch.
I was worried though about the collision between the wicketkeeper and Tendulkar.
Oh my God.
I thought one of them will never come up again.
Yeah. Plus the wicketkeeper won't go home.
No chance.
You can't do that here.
You can't pump Tendulkar and then the tournament will be finished.
Exactly. Yeah. But what about you, Makhaya? Because you're quite the agile athlete. Watching you on, not that you're not the agile athlete now, but bowling is a little difficult, isn't it? As you age and then come back.
No, not really. But I haven't been off of the game anyway because I still play a couple of games when I've got a chance. Super Sport, it keeps me busy regarding of the broadcasting, of the games, and then we just finished it. T20 now, the Betway in South Africa. Well, it's still. And then I do my cycling, I do my running time to time, So it's been good. I haven't been really shut down regarding of the activity anyway. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what about things like when you've been out of the game and when you come back? Do you feel that it all comes back to you, or does it take a little while? Because
if I can put it in a right manner, I think the kids that we play against, they do show you that now you are old. You can't be the same Makhaya who runs in and knock people's head off.
Would the pace be close to the 140s?
Not a chance. No ways. 140s. Imagine if I bowl 140 now, Jonty. Imagine that.
Don't say that. I watched a lot. Just be modest.
Yeah, I think it's really tough for the fast bowlers to come back in. Someone like me who's a middle order batter. I used to fly around the field or dive around the field. I keep explaining to people that the flying is still an option, but it's the landing that's become more difficult
problem, yeah.
at age 55. So the rest of it is pretty much on muscle memory on what you did. But I
Let's
think the
switch-
bowlers do have a hard task.
But it'll be easier for you to answer about each other then, I guess, without being,
Of course.
without being objective, let's say. So how fast is he now in the field?
Me?
No, John is.
Yeah.
If you look at the last road safety, he was one of the guys that you look at and why are you doing that? We always shout at him, said no, because
'cause
we want to keep him on the field.
I was a
You know, we
captain
don't
of the
wanna-
side saying, guys, no diving. we want to have 14 or 15 fit players for selection at the end.
fair.
And I was the one guy diving around. So, in case I'm that sort of leader, do what I say, don't do what I do. So, yeah.
But how
But I've
do
been
you
fine.
follow that?
Yeah.
You know,
You
for us as a fast bowler, I said don't bowl bouncers. But you see the guys hit you for four and said no ways, cut that one out. We're gonna come hard at each other. You know, so it's almost the
Can he go
same.
at full tilt?
No. But that's fine. I mean, will he go for the full tilt as a plus 40? What age now?
Yeah, 48.
Yeah, so he'll go full tilt for a 48-year-old.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not full tilt like the Makhaya who
We used to. Yeah.
we saw in the days of running in all day at full tilt. So yeah, but that's it. I mean, that's the great thing about life. It moves on, and we all adjust. We all adjust accordingly.
Of course.
As long as it's a level playing field, I guess, because, the age differences are a little different here and there. So I'm wondering how fit some people are relatively, 40 versus 55, etc.
Yeah, it's less about the fitness levels, and I suppose more. I'm still, like Makhaya says, we keep busy, and in South Africa especially with our families, they keep us really busy. So, but I think facing some of the young guns that are in the bowling lineups for Australia or even the West Indies, there's some good bowlers around, and that'll be testing me for sure. But that's the skill level that cricket wise he can bowl in his sleep, and I can kind of bat and catch in my sleep. But it's okay. Am I sharp enough to be batting at somebody who's still bowling in the 130s now because they've just recently retired? But it's great to find out. It's only one way to find out, to get out there.
When you face it.
Just get out there and do it. Yeah.
Watching Jonty, I was much younger than myself. I remember at the CCI ground here in Mumbai against the West Indies, and I'm a huge Lara fan, so I was very upset actually because he took a catch. Well, it wasn't a catch. God knows what it was. I couldn't believe it actually. We'd never seen anything like that, Makhaya. We're sitting there, 4 or 5 boys from college, and we'd never seen anything like that. With due respect to the Indian fielders and athletes, it was just he just took wickets in the field. I mean, a full-blooded square cut, just plucked it out from nowhere, full tilt. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
You remember NZ's run out?
Oh,
So
yeah.
that could tell you.
Oh,
At that time, man, we praised Jonty.
And that was a relatively fit Inzi.
Yes.
Relatively. Yeah, 19 years old. So
Yeah.
What an iconic picture that is, yeah. That photograph.
The
I mean,
jump.
that's,
They ran out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And the catch.
Yeah.
And remember the flying catch.
The flying catch.
What are you
of course.
talking about? All the
Yeah.
kids now, they always want to do what Jonty does.
But then again, it's almost like the wrong contest, right? Inzi, not the fastest. Jonty, absolutely the fastest. I mean, when you think back, that was the wrong contest. Of course, they went down to win the cup, so no complaints there for Pakistan in the end. And what about this guy? When he first came on, I think, what was it, 1998, 99?
Yeah, 97, 98, yeah.
Like series where he took 13 wickets against the West Indies in one test.
Yes.
It was unplayable.
yeah, then went to UK
Yeah, 10 for.
at Lords. Not too many players get to kiss the turf at Lords, and get their name on the board.
know.
So, I mean, Makhaya's and the incredible thing too, as an inspiring so many people in South Africa, and he's got an incredible story about how he came into the game. In the Eastern Cape, there's a very strong cricket and rugby background for them, and but Makhaya came the hard way, and I think that was indicative of the way that he played. Everyone kept saying, "Wow, this guy's got great energy and he works really hard," but that's all he knew. So nothing was given, nothing took for granted, and the way that he bowled on the field was because of the upbringing that he had had. He had taken the hard route to get to success, which is not many players go through that sort of tough times to get to where you were. So I think for all of us as teammates, we were always really thrilled to see him succeed.
So also, what you're saying is, so off the field it was tough to pursue the dream of becoming cricket, etc.
Yeah, I just think of in an upbringing with Makhaya, limited facilities,
Yes.
limited opportunities, and we look at now okay, now we're senior guys, but you think of all the T20 leagues around the world, franchises. Every country now gives young players a platform. Not just at state level. There's restaurant. I mean, watching restaurant cricket on. Okay, it's tennis ball, but it's restaurant cricket. Yeah. So I mean, everybody gets an opportunity. So, and it's not just televised; it's streamed as well. And I think that's the massive thing. That the big difference now. People keep saying, "Oh, there's too much cricket." But there isn't. I mean, it's just an opportunity for players to showcase their skills. So I think that's exciting.
No, I think, sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say as well, adding what Jonty just said as well. At the same time, the only thing that they need to add on into that, Jonty, you don't have to pay you don't have to play international cricket for you to be identified.
Yeah.
As a good cricketer.
Your South Africa T20 league has gone through the roof.
Fantastic. Yeah. You've got the Pretorius guy, the young fellow now has been signed by the English for the 2020. Young fellow Mapaka. Is coming up.
Mumbai Indians.
Mumbai straight away from school.
So one tournament
under 19.
He was.
Boom.
I had a chat to him. He was playing with Mumbai Indians.
Yeah. So you look
playing
at
his luck now, and he was actually studying for his final year
16,
exams.
17.
Yeah,
Really
17 years old, but he's sitting here at the IPL and he's learning for his final exam.
Why is he studying? He's in the IPL now. 2 seasons should be enough.
You need to finish your matric, hasn't it, John? He can't be like us.
Yeah.
We look at outside the window, so there's a kettle going to the other people's farm, and then you have to get out the window.
When I said Makhaya to work hard, I wasn't talking about in this classroom. I was talking about as a cricket player, definitely not in the classroom.
No school for me. I jump out of school and then I just cricket is my name.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back a little bit and talk about where it all started for both of you. So Makhaya, you cricket was your first love, or were you playing something else?
No, I was an athlete.
You were an athlete.
Yeah, I was an athlete at school.
So it's like 100 meters, or?
No, I'll run everything. When there's no one to run whatever event, they will call me and say, come in, run, and then I would do that event. One thing that I can tell you though, I was never being a second person. It doesn't matter which group you put me in. I make sure that yeah.
But that's very odd, right? Because 100 meters is like fast twitch, and 1500 meters would be like more slow twitch.
No,
So he's got all the twitches.
I used to run next to my horse. Instead of jumping on top of it.
Makhaya, I had a full education. And there's only so much we can tolerate. Which horse was this?
It's a family show.
What the hell? A 3-legged horse.
No, I used to be a jockey as well. So when of course.
But you're a big boy.
Plus, when you're a rural boy,
when you're 10,
when you're a rural kid, you have everything that you can actually being forced to do it. Your parents will never say, you can't be a jockey, you can't be someone that is looking after the kettles and all of that. So we do everything. You do your own washing. You iron your own school clothes. So all of those things, you were taught to do it. So there was
far away from the Indian male. It's such a horrible story for me here.
So you were taught to do them. So it was not just a matter of now you have the nanny for your kids. You have the maid.
Jonty's looking at you, by the way.
He knows he's got all of those. You've got the maid that will cook.
Again, Jonty, these are all criticisms.
So we used to do all of that by ourselves. Yeah.
So you're saying all that is in the mental makeup, but sports-wise, you were a jockey, you were an athlete, far away from cricket.
We were far away from cricket. We only watch cricket during the Christmas period, where we call it Amaqale Gusha, where parents or brothers, they'll go to the mines and come back during the Christmas period, and then they will stay for 2 weeks at home and play cricket. And then after they leave, there's no cricket. So that's how cricket was played in our rural areas. Until the Baker's Mini Cricket came through, and then they looked for the talent into our schools up until the age of 15. That's where we were found.
So people don't know this, but in South Africa, back in the early days, perhaps a little before your career started, there was it was a racial divide between the sports as well, if I remember correctly?
Most heavily.
Cricket not more for the white South Africans, and football maybe?
No, anything. So I grew up in apartheid era South Africa. So white privilege. I have parents who are both teachers. I went to a government school, great facilities, but white kids only. And that's what apartheid was. Apartheid was segregating people according to the color of their skin, their race and ethnicity. So we had every opportunity to play any kind of sports. I was a cricket player, but I played hockey, football,
Is that,
tennis,
but that's
athletics.
not true, right? That you were a double international almost.
No, so yeah, almost. So in
So it's true.
because 1992, we got invited back to
India.
into India. In fact, September 91.
For the
Because-
reintroduction,
and the reason why was because prior to democracy, Dr. Ali Bacher, the CEO, and Krish Makadush, he was, I think, the head of the non-white cricketing body. So every sporting code in South Africa, because of racial segregation, had a white
own,
governing
yeah,
body
yeah.
and then a black sporting body. And cricket was the only sporting code that had unified. So they were the United Cricket Board and were invited back. We also had the referendum in South Africa because it was still apartheid in 1992. So during that World Cup in 1992, there was a referendum, and again, only white people in South Africa had the vote. So the minority population were had the referendum saying, vote yes to change, so unban the ANC, release Nelson Mandela, or no at the referendum, and we stick with apartheid because political and sporting sanctions had been imposed for 30 odd years, and rightly so, to put pressure on the government to make a change. So that is why someone like Makhaya, and unfortunately there's been political freedom for the last 30 years, but still not economic freedom. So I think there'll be a lot of kids who have similar stories to Makhaya, which shouldn't be. That sort of thing should have been rectified in the 30 years since democracy, but it still hasn't been done.
But he's the first black cricketer in that sense.
Yes, correct.
To represent South Africa.
South Africa.
So he's a huge role model for a lot of people.
Yeah, massive.
Paul Adams, and there were a couple of others I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
Herschel Gibbs.
Yep.
Herschel
Herschel
and Paul.
Gibbs.
Herschel and Paul.
So around the same time. Little.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Herschel was the first non-white player to play. Omar Henry had played. Sorry, the World Cup.
1992.
Omar
Omar
Henry
Henry,
he had
yes,
played
yes,
at the
yes,
World
yes,
Cup in
yes.
1992. He didn't play
What a
many
character,
games.
yeah.
And then Herschel had come through
And then
in
Paul
the sort
Adams.
of in the late 90s, and then Gogi as well. So Paul.
Paul
Frog in
Adams.
the frog in the blender.
Yo.
Yeah.
I hope we can show a photograph. Because
But I tell you what, he's now the sprinting coach for Cricket South Africa.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
with under
The
19
ladies as well,
The
yes.
ladies.
anyone have that action?
Unfortunately not. So- otherwise,
short career.
the physio would be very busy. Yeah, the physiotherapist would be really
be a
busy
short
trying to fix
career.
that. So,
A short
yeah.
career.
If you
Frog
see
in the blender.
Yeah, the stills of his actual action and the actual delivery. I mean, it's
Yeah.
his body's twisted and contorted.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
so
pretty
unnatural.
interesting.
And then the front leg will be
Yeah,
behind his
but-
back, facing either way.
Wow,
Yeah.
and then you make him the coach. Okay.
No, he's actually and they've done really well. So he obviously again he's got skills that, and it's always interesting because sometimes the best players make the worst coaches. And he's somebody who's certainly. I mean, he had an amazing strike rate as a spin bowler.
Yeah.
I mean, wrist spinner or finger. He was still somebody just held the ball in literally
In
two fingers.
Yeah.
So most finger spinners are orthodox, where he was an unorthodox finger spinner.
Yeah.
Left arm Chinaman.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't even a
He was-
Chinaman.
no,
No,
the hell
he was
was
a
he?
left arm Paul Adams. He was a left arm. Yeah, nobody like him. He was
Left arm Paul Adams.
Nobody has.
It wasn't leg spin.
No, it wasn't.
If-
It wasn't
if-
a Chinaman. It was not a left arm because a Chinaman holds the ball orthodox. I mean, Paul held it in his
In two fingers.
two fingers. So his
Like an offie.
index and his no.
The
An
thumb.
offie-
His
his thumb. He
No,
used
no,
his
no.
thumb. No, but
Yeah.
he used his
Then
thumb.
how do you
Like
get
this.
Spin? How do you get spin?
Yeah, interestingly. We all still trying to find out. I mean, none of us know.
You look at England.
None of it.
How
they
he
didn't know.
destroyed him.
No one.
Nobody
even
knew what's
full
going
tosses,
on.
long hops. They couldn't hit him. They just didn't know where it was going. What did Zulu used to call it? The low dipping,
The low
full bugger.
dipping.
Full toss, straight out.
If
Yeah,
the non-striker could help because he's
No,
closer
no.
to seeing the
Forget.
action.
No. He was.
How did you guys play him in domestic cricket? I mean, you played him domestic cricket.
Well,
as
fortunately, not really. We were so busy playing international cricket, we didn't play a lot of domestic cricket. And then he got in as a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So he wasn't playing domestic cricket anymore, but he bamboozled a lot of
yeah.
us in the nets and opposition on the field. So
Yeah.
great guy. But he used to do these funny celebrations. The Cricket South Africa banned him from, firstly from the head spring, and then he did this worm like on the, that looked a bit rude.
What's wrong with the worm? Like, it was sexual. What was it?
Well, it's-
I think in those days,
What's wrong with the worm like?
those days was not. It was not.
No one had a,
something that,
no one had a
He wanted to
celebration.
walk the
No one
world.
had a celebration. I mean, this West Indian kid who does backflips and stuff like that.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Paul Adams did the front or the head, like a head spring. So yeah.
Amazing.
Cricket South Africa just cut that
You're
out.
gonna get injured.
Then last time.
So you were a double international. So you
Oh
played
no!
field
So
hockey.
okay, so 1992, because we were invited to play in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Cricket, the Hockey Association were hoping for an invite to Barcelona because Barcelona was. But you
Olympics.
don't get invited to the Olympics. It's a 4-year
You gotta
journey.
qualify,
Yeah, it's a 4-year
yeah.
journey, and also the hockey boards were not unified, so that counted them out.
Fall off, yeah.
And then 1994 post-democracy, the 96 Olympics was in Atlanta, and I just retired from playing hockey. So I was still playing international cricket and state hockey because I could get back. So unless we were touring, say, in the UK, which was 3 months of their summer, our winter in South Africa, which was my whole hockey season, I could still continue playing hockey.
But
so
how good were you? I mean,
I
horrible question to ask, but
I had a record for the fastest goal. It was like 16 seconds from the start of the game to the goal. So I was a striker. And that's it. That irony is that I never had a fielding coach, but as a football player and a hockey player, I was a centre forward trying to score goals. So all the lessons that I learned or using at backward point was from watching goalkeepers trying to defend against me. So I had good speed, less skill. So it was a bit like my cricket, very enthusiastic, lots of energy, be in the right place at the right time.
It was a pretty handy bat.
Yeah,
Just
but
there was a list of huge
average.
names there.
If you remember where the sweep came from,
Yeah.
we saw it from Jonty.
Yeah.
And then we all said, what? Is that a hockey skill?
Yeah, it was a hockey
Because-
skill. Yeah, very much hockey.
Someone was with you remember the helmet that he used to wear, the one with no visor on?
Yeah.
with the
Side
side
The
piece.
3-4 of them
Him,
had
him
that,
and
yeah.
Ansi,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
used
that
to
What was
wear
the point
those.
behind that? Because at the end of the day,
It's on the way, man. Because you didn't really have much of an option. You had this
you
perspex.
felt more comfortable with the thing, no visor.
Well,
Then
So now when we play, I generally get somebody with a welding machine and they cut off the top bar because I just feel I can't see.
Yeah. Well, the
Really.
bar comes in your eyes while you're.
it's getting
Why are
away.
you nodding like you
Okay.
played international
Yeah,
cricket?
yeah.
You're scaring the hell out of me, man.
The full
Cyrus was
helmet.
sitting there, I can't do a push up, and now he's talking about what's going on?
Yeah.
We can't. These are huge legends. We cannot empathize. We have to listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
so my hockey career never really took off,
Yeah.
fortunately. I mean, cricket chose me. I really would have chosen hockey. I was a better hockey
So if the
player,
times were
for sure.
different, you didn't have all these political issues going on with the racism and all that, you may have played hockey for a country and cricket for a country. It's
Well,
possible.
there was an opportunity. I mean, I got invited to attend trials for the 1996 Olympics. So we had the World Cup in 1996, which Sri Lanka won.
Right.
And then soon after that, we went to Sharjah, and I think it was Sri Lanka, South Africa, India. And
This
in
was
the
Sachin's
semi-final,
goals,
the
yeah.
final, I pulled a hamstring, and I was supposed to go back and go to a 2-week camp with the hockey guys because they said we really want you. We're looking for a goal scorer in Atlanta, but you can't just walk in. You have to come to a 2-week camp.
Yeah.
It's just
And
very
I
Indian
pulled-
story if you just
Yeah,
turned
yeah.
up. Huh?
Yeah.
Somebody
No.
makes a phone call, Jonty
then
Rhodes
you're
has
there.
come,
Yeah, yeah.
he'll be striker. Okay, sorry Robson, you're out.
Yeah. No, I mean they made a phone call, but they stipulated that I had to be a part of a process before being picked, and that would have been an Olympics and a World Cup in 1 year for 2 different sports. I mean that would have been
That's
pretty
really
phenomenal.
wow.
Could have retired then, very
Damn.
happy. Yeah,
So
it's
close.
life. It is
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So
You think you think you would have had a long career in hockey as well?
no,
Why?
because
Striker,
hockey,
scoring goals?
hockey, semi-professional, not even semi. In
Is it a
fact,
tougher
amateur.
game?
No, it's not a tough. Physically, that's always why I was so fit on the cricket field because everything in hockey is drills.
It's very
running.
fast for those who
So,
haven't played it.
so if you think of football, I mean, some of the fittest players, because you don't stop running. So hockey is very similar, and plus all your training. So Makhaya would bowl all day and that's what he would do in the nets. Batters, yes, we'd bat all day, and then we would do some physical sort of training, some
Drilling, yeah,
shuttles
yeah.
and running and things, and fielding wise. Again, you're doing 10, 15 minutes of intense work. But hockey, the entire practice for 2.5 hours, it's just running with skills. There's no stationary skills that you employ. So you're always on the move.
Flick and the drag flick.
Yeah, that's for those specialists, but they'll do that. I mean, you'll have your specialist skill set guys, and they'll do that
The
at
set
different
pieces,
times.
yeah.
But everything else at practice involves running. So, I was always fit because of that. So,
There's also a tennis
yeah, junior tennis player.
championship.
So state level under
Okay, this guy
13.
won everything.
Yeah,
Wait,
white guys
no.
only. Don't forget. right? So-
No, I was gonna go back
White
to
guys
that.
only,
You've
yeah.
got AB de Villiers, who
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
has the same
Similar.
similar Herschel Gibbs as well.
Herschel,
He had to
great.
choose
Great
which one
rugby.
he
You
You
wanted
say
to.
who's the better fielder on record, A.B. de Villiers or Jonty Rhodes?
That's his baby, though.
Yeah, AB.
That's the wrong
Yeah.
answer.
No, that's
Really, you guys have become so
Listen,
Indian now.
let
Everything
me-
is diplomatic. Just
No. Honest truth.
Yeah.
If Jonty
Yeah.
was not the guy that actually showcased that, we never had Jonty. We would have never had AB de Villiers.
the pioneer for the
because-
world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the
because
grandfather of
everybody-
fielding, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
because everybody had their heroes. In anything that we do. It could be a basketball player or baseball, it doesn't matter. But the kid grew up
first
knowingly that there's someone that I want to compete and
But
be
let me
like.
tell you, my dad used to talk to me about a guy called Colin Bland.
I know
from
Colin
South
Bland.
Africa,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
apparently, if the old timers say, was unbelievably like. And everybody used to say Jonty is the next avatar of Colin Bland, but I don't know.
So
No,
even then, AB de Villiers, he was the next Jonty Rhodes.
Well done.
You know what I mean?
He could be a lawyer.
No, he could.
He's got that mind.
He's a commentator. He knows what to say.
Yeah. That's right. Toe the line, brother. Yeah.
No, he does.
Okay. Let's get back to your story now. So
Yeah.
you got all these things happening, but there's no cricket in the horizon. Where does cricket start?
Yeah. No, how cricket started? It was I would say blessing in disguise, because I went to fetch the kettles, and then I passed the ground that we play
As in,
rugby
you
at,
take the cattle with you.
back home.
Go fetch them.
Yeah,
You have
fetch
to go
them.
fetch
I
them.
mean, it
Yeah.
sounds a little like the cattle.
Yeah.
So you have to herd all of them
That's
and
why.
bring them.
That's why he was a jockey. You ride a horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Go fetch them. They were a long way away.
They were a very long way
Yeah,
away. So I ended up passing the ground that we play rugby at. And then
Okay.
they just built the cricket nets. And then there was a lot of cars, and then all the kids around the area were gathered. So myself and my friend, we're standing about 100 meters away from where this clinic is taking place. So they send one child to come and call us and then ask us if we're keen to join. And then that's how we started, So
So you
from
never
there,
played till that point.
no. They just gave us a ball and say, do like this, and then we follow how they do it.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, Greg Hayes came to my parents and asked if I can join them every time they come to my village. And then the parents says yes. And then I got a scholarship. A year after, they took me to
So in 2 weeks they were able to tell this potential.
probably,
Pretty much.
yeah.
Pretty much. 100%.
And then within all of that, they called Dr. Ali Bacha, and Dr. Ali Bacha took me to Australia to join Don Bradman Academy. So from then, I went back home, and then I got the scholarship. I went to Dale College, and then that's where I started my career.
Yeah, I think Dr. Ali Bacha, in that sort of era of the bridging of the gap, pre-apartheid, post, and then from democracy, Doc Bacha was a real man of vision. I mean, he had sort of instrumentally brought in the Bakers mini cricket,
Yes.
so giving opportunity to youngsters, taking cricket to every part of
The
South
rural
Africa. 'Cause
areas, yeah.
Up until then, there had been no opportunity, no focus, no opportunity, and Doc Bacha, I think, it was instrumental in bringing the game. And it wasn't just something that he was window dressing because it's
No.
good for politics and saying the right thing at the ICC. He was adamant that the game must be played by everybody or be given an opportunity to be played by everybody in South Africa.
Yeah, I think he was a big friend of India's as well. I'm trying to remember. Did a lot of stuff, put things together, pushed South Africa back on the world map, no question. Also, he played cricket.
Yeah, he captained
He
South
did.
Africa.
Forget that.
He kept
So
in
he was
South
the
Africa.
last South African team that toured prior to isolation.
70 around that time.
Yeah, so I think 1970 was the last trip that was going to Australia, and he had captained South Africa in the mid-60s, late 60s.
So man of vision, no doubt about
Yeah.
that. I'm going to
Oh,
name one
yeah.
of my kids Ali, that's for sure.
But the worst part, even today, asking me, what are you doing, Makhaya? I told them, when you retire, they must employ you to go and look for
Talent.
cricketers
Yeah,
in
really.
South
Okay,
Africa.
yeah. Doc,
His vision is all about
he's
South
still
Africa.
works.
He's still
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Still-
good true. Did his son or nephew play a few matches?
Adam Bacha, his
Adam
nephew.
Bacha.
Great catch at square leg, which I remember
Sachin,
against
of
him.
course.
There you go.
Was
Oh,
he
he's a
caught
square
Sachin?
leg.
No,
No,
he caught-
he was a square leg guy.
No.
We put him
short
under
square,
the umbrella.
but then they caught Sachin
Right
on the
at
boundary in Cape.
Makhaya.
it was in
Yes,
Cape
yes.
Town.
We couldn't believe the catch. It was like
Yeah, one hand
it was
rolling
a
up.
Jonty Rhodes moment. It
Yeah,
was
rolling
nice.
over
Yeah.
backwards. I was dropped in those days. I wasn't even playing. But the only reason why I always
Ali,
remember. The reason
you
why I
used your
remember
family
it.
influence to drop my good friend Jonty.
But you always remind, whenever a catch is taken and Sachin was the batter, got out, everyone always remembers it. So I remember that one because I'm reminded
We
of
had
it.
Billy Bowden on. He was saying that in India, if Sachin got out, like
The whole crowd get out of
everybody
the
asks
stadium.
him. No, wherever he goes, why was he given out? It was just like, but he was bold.
Yeah, nothing to do with me. Yeah, it should have been a no ball.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I
Missed the no ball.
remember we played in Calcutta, and then you remember that Calcutta was about 100,000 people, and then when Sachin came
Is this
into
Klusner,
that,
the Glance Klusner test? Or was
I'm
it?
not sure,
Yeah.
but I was part of that tour.
Yeah.
So when he got out,
He was
The whole-
98.
yeah, the
96,
whole-
96, what, 96,
Nine-
97?
No,
98 is his debut, as far as I remember.
Yeah,
no.
but
My,
you also
my
came on the
90,
tour.
yeah,
though.
98 was my 98 was in Cape Town,
Yeah.
my first cap, and
Yeah.
then I came on tour with that. You know, and we played in Calcutta.
We're old. We'll take some time.
And then, and then when you got out, the stadium was empty. It's almost like they only came to watch
Sachin play.
Sachin.
That's really part of our culture. The star is bigger than the game. Nothing you can do. Virat Kohli
Yeah.
played a Ranji match in
100,
Delhi,
yeah, yesterday.
and 12,000 people came to watch, which is never seen
Wow.
in a first-class game. He got out. 12,000 people
They left. Yeah.
Oh my
So the other guys are like, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah.
Still sad. Yeah. All right. So you were picked in the clinic, and they sort of saw the diamond in the rough, and they guided you. And let's
Yes.
fast forward now to 98.
98, yeah. 97, that was
97,
the first
98,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually, I was playing for Border,
Yeah.
which is my
Province,
my
yeah.
town, my province. So I received the call that I need to join the squad going to Australia. And then I was part of that. And then I played the VB series against New Zealand. And then I picked up 3 sticks there. And then that was the beginning of my journey for South Africa.
And the legacy that he gets into is Alan Donald, arguably
Yeah.
the best of his generation.
Yeah.
In
That's
terms of
Alan
Sean
Pollock, Klusner, then
Klusner.
Steve Elworthy, Brian Macmillan,
There was the other fast guy, Schultz.
Brett
Brett
Schultz.
Schultz, he had retired.
yes.
He had
was
quite a
quick
few.
for a
Yeah,
little
very.
while.
But
Yeah,
you remember Brett
heavy
Schultz had an
bowler.
injury in
Yeah.
Pakistan
Yeah.
for a shoulder injury.
So he was a heavy bowler, but a heavy
Yeah.
guy.
But
So
I remember reading that he was the quickest of the lot.
he
For
bowled
a
a, he
As a
bowled a heavy
left-arm,
ball.
yeah.
He bowled a heavy ball.
Yeah.
So it was rapid. But I don't know about the quickest of the lot. I think Alan Donald still.
Yeah,
Dale
they
Steyn.
De Villiers.
Yeah.
Fanny.
Funny
He
De
wasn't
Villiers
quick. He
was-
could swing the ball. I
Yes,
mean,
yeah.
again, he also a strong guy. Also run in, fit, strong
I
ball.
mean, if you
all
look,
day.
you're talking about Funny De Villiers. Remember in Australia when you picked up those 6 wickets
6
in the
wickets,
last,
yeah, I
in the
remember
last
that.
wicket, we're chasing 100. And
We're
one
like
one.
three
you guys
old
end up-
men trying to reminisce about things.
Yeah,
That's
I was
why
there. I don't
we've
remember
got-
it.
Yeah, we've got some books that they open up time to time when we're talking about the fast bowling.
It's fine. But just take us through the debut, because there must be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, the test debut, that was one that was I think was more pressure than any other, because in Australia nobody really
Did they
messes.
sledge you?
We were far away.
The new
How
kid?
are you gonna sledge a black guy? You can't. You sledge you with his own language, you will know
Yeah,
nothing.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the one that was actually, even myself, I felt like there's a pressure here now, because I did well in Australia playing one game and coming back home. Sri Lanka is at home, and then I'm getting my test debut. I felt that one, but after that, everything started to become so easy, because I ended up learning how to bowl. Because if you have Alan Donald next to you, or Brian Macmillan, or Sean Pollock, you don't have to say much. They just tell you, just run in and hit the right areas. The rest is history.
Wow. Somebody, what a team that was. The late 90s South Africa. I'm just thinking back at the lineup. No disrespect to the present team, but it's like one match winner after another. He's
Yeah.
mentioning all these names. The arsenal you guys had.
Yeah.
Would you put Rabada and gang in the same bracket? Not yet.
Yeah, no, you would. No, you
Rabada
really
maybe,
would.
but are
Yeah.
the rest?
A tail stain.
Yeah, that's the yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you've got Vernon Ferland as well, Morkel,
Yeah.
Monet Morkel.
Yeah, so I mean, in the generation since South
we
Africa
had
has
they produce quite a lot of them.
always does
Yeah.
produce some really good. We've
Fast
also had
bowlers.
a few young guys who've broken down.
Yeah,
Fast
mostly.
bowlers.
Yeah. I don't know.
Fast bowlers.
Who've
Gummy.
had them? Oh,
So,
Funegongam,
Funegongam.
Monde Zondegi
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
They little
Maybe
bit of a.
the focus was on 4 overs.
No, not then.
no,
No,
no.
not at
Fragile.
that time.
No,
We didn't
not
even
then. It's
thought
before
of that.
T20. No,
No, we
there's
didn't
no-
even never thought of that. There will be something like that at
No,
T20.
you're running in all day.
Yeah, we test or
I remember
50 overs.
Ian Botham said in his biography a little bit about how Makhaya's life was, in the sense that just get bowling in county cricket.
Yeah.
They play 7 days. 1 day is the NatWest or whatever. And
7 days a week.
7 days a week, and you're
Ah,
bowling and you
right.
don't think about it.
No, but I had the
then
shock
you-
of my life, my first time going to England.
Yeah.
And then I thought that they playing the same way as South Africa. So when you play 40 game, you go home and rest a couple of days. No, you get in the bus.
Next game.
Next date, next game the following day, and then we play the one day, and then second day, the following day it's a 4-day game. I said, how do you play cricket like this? And then you bowl the whole day, because as a pro, if there's nothing happening, they
25
bring you
overs,
back
yeah.
in.
Yeah, give me
You must bowl.
the other ball.
And I said, what is this?
So those guys are bowling 150, 200 overs a week.
You look at within all that example, you look at the thing now. Who's this guy just retired recently? The fast bowler,
From
Jimmy
Jimmy
Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's how many wickets?
41.
No, 41. But how many
500
wickets?
Odd, 500 odd, yeah.
No. What do you mean 500? Stuart Broad is 600.
All right. Is it
So
600?
isn't that
Don't ask me. I'm not a stats guy.
Jonty was struggling with the debut.
Hey, no, I'm trying to think back to my
no?
days.
What I'm
Jimmy's
trying to
how many?
say.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy is 600, né? If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
and then
600 odd,
Stuart
okay.
Broad is 500. So if you look at that and you're talking about the county, those guys that were trained to bowl. You know, they were not just being given the opportunity that okay, no, bowl 4 overs and then after, because you can never pick up 600 wickets as a fast bowler.
And he never broke down, Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah, he played right through.
Right through. Can't remember. But
You know, so that tells you that, you know, from the fast bowling point of view, you know, you need to go to England for you to see how
you how to
far
bowl.
will you go, you know, with your career as a fast bowler. You know, if you want to play test.
But the food is
anyway.
a bit.
No, besides that, you know, we're all talking about the nutrition, but I think, you know, from our point of view, I never had, you know, the guidance of nutrition. I was eating whatever the family cooks, you know, so it was not a matter of that you need to have a blender with you where you put your.
But this is a huge
Massive,
discussion to have,
massive.
right?
So that you
whether
can
the
have a
modern world has
check-
spoiled people and made them more fragile, or whether the science is important and takes the sport forward.
No, I think there's science now. That's the one that makes them fragile.
That's what exactly.
You know, for me, you know, I think that if I wake up and eat the normal meal porridge, you know, that's good
You cannot
enough for me.
explain that. Now we have no idea what that
meal
is.
porridge. It's not an oats, but it's a what you call meal. We call it meal
Yeah,
at
so it's
home.
ground oats.
Yeah. So that on its own, it's got its own nutrition in it. So why would I go and take something that has been made in a lab? So that I think, from my point of view, those are the things that actually makes the guys being, you know, so.
Or maybe that's good initially because it gives you a foundation and you're tough, etc., etc. But then later on, the science helps. If you look at it, I don't know. I'm just
disagree.
asking you. You're the athletes.
I disagree.
But he's pumped up more
I
post
disagree.
retiring.
But it still
Looks
doesn't
he's
use
using-
that.
Hey, Jonty, it looks like he's using some stuff.
Not a
from the
chance.
lab.
No, forget about it.
Yeah, I think
Forget
a
about it.
difference now. I mean, every team at the start of our careers, we almost had. I only had one coach, so one physio,
Yes.
and that was it. So we
That's how
were
it
one of the
is.
first teams that got a fitness trainer. Paddy Upton came with us
Oh, yeah.
on tour, and that was sort of in the late 90s. So for the first 4 years, there was never any discussion about
Yeah.
nutrition. Most of the players are just trying to
100%.
save their daily allowance and
We eat
Eat
bread
junk.
and butter.
eat junk. So take some pounds home.
Yeah.
and
How much
things
was
like
the daily
that.
allowance? What would it be
What?
like?
No, I mean 50 pounds. No, no,
40
that's
was
probably
40 pounds,
Yeah,
because
40 so, but-
including your laundry meal.
Yeah, so
amount there, yeah.
my laundry, you can imagine. I was absolutely filthy. So 5-day cricket. In fact, we used to get these beautiful, when you tour England, those beautiful woolen jerseys, like a
Yes.
jumper,
Uh-huh.
with a South African colour. But I would never use that because one wash, it would come back, one long arm, one short, it would shrink in the wash. And I'd hate to ruin it. So yeah, my laundry bill it used up all my daily allowance, sadly.
40 pounds a day.
I used to use my one.
Yeah,
What is
that's-
that?
But if you,
I used to use my own hands for
Wash
the
your- yeah,
washing.
wash your own.
Wash
your own.
And keep the meal allowance.
So if you have 40 pounds in the UK, you can't get a meal.
No.
You go out for dinner,
No.
which you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
whether it's in a hotel or in a restaurant. The daily
That's
allowance
nothing.
got eaten up very quickly. So boys were counting their pounds. Don't worry.
40 into 5 days, 200 pounds. Not that bad. I mean, look at it from that point of view. Not
Yeah. No, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying we could stretch 40 pounds. We
Our
found a
budget-
way to stretch 40
Yeah.
pounds.
Jonty, our budget for the
Sorry.
podcast is 40 pounds for the month.
Hey,
Right.
and I can see you eating all of it. Yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at his
carry
chest.
on. Yeah.
So now the
Probably
Jonty's
he's got,
made a joke on
probably he's
it.
got
Yeah.
those pockets
You
there.
can, see the, you can see the hatred in the room. The moment he says something derogatory about me, they're all so
Yeah,
happy.
that's all right.
He doesn't eat
You got your
meal
market.
shakes.
You know, Makhaya, he knows the market.
No, listen, I have a Bachelor of Commerce, Marketing, Business Administration. I'm no fool.
Wow,
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
Wow.
All right, we have to take a quick break. Talking too much. We'll come back and second half talk a little more. The Legends cricket is on as we speak, as we record this. It's at DY Patil,
Yes.
which is just outside Mumbai. Well, no longer outside Mumbai. Who knows where
No.
Mumbai Mumbai.
It is a part of Mumbai.
Yeah. You know
It's
better.
right there, Navi Mumbai, right there.
This guy he's now like half Indian.
Yeah, but now I've shifted to Goa. Cut to break.
break. कृपया ध्यान दीजिए ब्रोचा जनता पार्टी प्लीज लिसन स्मैश शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब as soon as you can. We have to make Cyrus says the biggest English language podcast in the country.
What is his break?
I have to do potty and then I will eat my breakfast in tuxedo.
Bhen chod.
What did you just say?
Madan Kumar Bhen chod. This is the stuff I want to see.
And I wanted to do pornography.
I will sell it to Pornhub. Sir,
So whatever
guy
you want.
does not need to be in society.
I keep saying this. In Sweden, Lund is a name. Lund.
It's not Lund, it's Lund.
अभी ये साइरस बरूचा ना साइरस बरूचा तो साइरस ब्रोचा का पॉडकास्ट देखने का अच्छा है टाइम पास.
All right, back here, Makhaya and Jonty are with us, and Legends is on. Go and watch the tournament. If it's later and the tournament's over, go and watch videos of the tournament on some OTT platform. It'll be there. But want to talk a little bit about the IPL, where both of you were involved at some level. I think you got to coach. You retired by then, so you did a lot of coaching.
I have done a lot of coaching.
Yeah. So
I have.
take us through that.
9
IPL
years,
phase.
9 years with Mumbai Indians.
Yeah.
Then I had a 2-year break, and 3 years with Punjab, and then 2 years with Lucknow. So it's been a. I
So
mean,
what's
it's
it
been
like coaching the Indian boys?
It's interesting because there's incredible talent here, and I think that is the most amazing thing. Fielding wise, as a fielding coach, it's a lot of hard work. It's changed. I mean, because originally, just there's so many players who can move forward in one direction pretty quick, but they're decent athletes. But to change direction, having agility, a lot of the players don't have because they don't play other sports. So cricket is a linear game. So you run up to bowl, you run between the wickets. And fielding is very much a lateral movement sport. And we were fortunate. We play rugby, football, tennis. So all the other games that we play in South Africa make us able, one, to have good peripheral vision because you have more awareness because you're not just focused at the ball or the batter, the target. And then also the ability to change direction. So I think from that point of view, working with the young Indian players, very keen, very hungry to learn and grow. And, but for a lot of them, fielding is just straight. Catch a ball, come straight to them. Catch a ball, stop the ball, they're straight at them. So changing direction. Because I can teach somebody to catch the ball. Can't teach them to get there. That's the hardest part, is teaching somebody. You have the best hands in the world. If you can't reach the catch, what's the point of having great hands?
But it's amazing because our Maidans, there are like 8 games at the same time.
Yeah,
So
but
if
no
you're-
one's fielding.
you're
There's a ball hitting the
square leg-
back of your head. I mean, how do you even know where the ball's
because
coming
you're
from?
square leg here, but you're extra cover there. You know,
Exactly.
So it's
So
great fun because.
You can't move.
Yeah.
No, you are slightly surrounded.
So do you abuse and stuff? How do you get your point across?
No, not at all.
No bad language?
No, luckily I don't know enough Hindi to be rude. I think I hit the ball like it's a game. So not like I'm playing a game. It's like it's a
make a
match
game out
situation.
of-
Like it's a
out of
match
it, yeah.
situation, and they are very competitive. I'm still very competitive. So I think from that point of view, it's 5 to 7 minutes, high intensity, like it's a match situation. Then they move on. Otherwise, their hands are going to hurt because I'm not hitting it easily.
Well, what's your take on that catch outside the boundary now, where you can't step outside initially? You got to stay in.
Yeah, then you
Right.
can hop and
Yeah.
flip it back to yourself. I think that's. I'm all for the acrobatic stuff when they catch the ball and flick it back into themselves or to somebody else. I mean, Glenn Maxwell took one the other day on the boundary in the Big Bash, where one hand flicked it. It was just insane. I mean, he does ridiculous things. Some great young players coming through. Glenn Phillips from New Zealand is a great fielder. Jadeja's been superb. But the guys doing stuff on the boundary, I like to see that one catch. Don't ground your feet. I mean, they changed the rule at one time. You could palm it up to yourself as long as your feet were off the ground.
Right.
I don't like that. But the spectacular stuff, the way the guys, and they practice that specifically, the catch and release to get the ball back in. It's incredible what they do these days.
But could you be behind the boundary when
No,
the
you
ball's
can't
in play?
start. You
go
can't
against
start.
that.
You have to be your last step has to be from inside the
I
boundary.
think that's little like it's heightism. If you're really short, it really helps if you're behind the boundary, for example.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't reach it. I mean, if you Ravi Bishnell we use on the boundary because he's a great fielder. He's very quick.
But he's short.
He covers ground and he's short. So we also at the IPL, because you play so much cricket in the season, a lot of the stadiums will have 5 or 6 or 8 pitches. So you could have a game where there's one short boundary and one really big boundary, and then you put your taller guys on the shorter boundary. So yeah, it's not just spread out and do your best. I mean, we're quite specific on where we want the guys and which hotspot, depending on who's batting, who's bowling, and specifically the boundary dimension. So there's a little bit of work that goes into.
Do they call
the
you
cricket.
up like they call the
No,
batting and
fortunately
bowling
not.
coach and say?
No, but I saw JP Duminy on the. He was actually on the field the other day, fielding for South Africa. There was a couple of guys short. But yeah, no one calls me up. I'm on silent. I live in Goa 5 months of the year, so
India can call
I'm
you up.
unreachable.
Yeah.
No one can call me up.
It disappear out of
I'm
radar.
unreachable. Yeah. There's actually no
radar.
network. There's no network at Kodagonda. Yeah.
But Makhaya, you played as well. There was one
Yes, the
controversial
first one.
season where they
Yeah, the
paid a lot
fir-
of
the
money
first-
and you were on the bench for a long time.
The first 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first 3 years was just the beginning of the IPL.
Correct.
I played for Chennai, and then it was one of the most unbelievable, franchise in my understanding of the IPL. When you're talking about sitting, because they only use 4 players outside the country,
Yeah.
so we can't all of us actually line up, and then you have the likes of who was with us. Fleming, Matthew Hayden, Mularitaran, and then you have to Albi Mokel as well. So they had to choose, only 4. But we were there. The most important part, we were ready to be selected anytime. You go for training, it doesn't matter. You only one person that is gonna come and bat. You there, so you are ready at all times. So for me, it was most experience, being able to see the guys that you played against, and then all of a sudden you are in one team.
So you had almost come to the end of your career when T20 became huge, and Makhaya, you also it was the last
Yes.
part of your career.
Yes.
What do you guys think about T20? Because
We'll have been rich. Imagine.
imagine
Imagine.
both classical sort of red ball cricketers, with great
but-
achievements, and
Put it this way. 1999, Lance Klusener, Jonty Rhodes. If you look at the guys that they were
born for
the
short
cream,
form also as
they
well,
were
yeah.
cream of South Africa. And then if the IPL was introduced at that time, these guys, oh goodness me, they would have made it more than anyone else.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still think my game, 50 overs was still, it's a long time, and my game was suited for that. So I would have had to have definitely got better skills, because I was more a leg side player, square of the wicket, sweep, reverse sweep, struggle to hit the ball down the ground, struggle to hit the ball over
you
extra
could hit
cover
a
like a
25
Herschel.
ball 50.
Yeah, I mean, I could.
I mean,
I don't know. No, not really. I mean, I could hit a couple, but I think that what I've seen as a coach, having been at this, I didn't go year one with the IPL. I was actually working for a bank. So I retired from cricket in 2003 with
you
my
made
commerce.
that kind of money.
Yeah.
It-
Nah.
You went straight to the bank.
I had my
You
own
worked for
bank.
Standard Bank.
I was my own bank. No, then we launched Pro 20 cricket in South Africa. So the inaugural T20 World Cup 2007, that
Yeah.
Dhoni came with a young side, and some of the senior guys didn't want to come, and they beat Pakistan in the final.
Final, yeah.
Yes.
And then from then, because there was already a league in India, I think the ICL that got banned, and BCCI
Yes.
took
Correct,
over.
yeah.
The IPL went from 0 to 100 miles an hour, and Lalit Modi ran that. But it was an incredible platform. Suddenly the best players. And to Makhaya's point about, you don't get on the field, but you learn so much in those 8 weeks, because players practice really hard.
Yeah.
It's best players in the world want to come here and play, and I think that's been one of the bigger joys for me. You asked about working with the young Indian players, because many of them don't get on the field, but the role of us coaches and as mentors as well is upskilling these kids, that by the time they've left the IPL, they
And
are
go back
10
to their
they are 10
provinces,
times the player than when they got there, even if they haven't got, and the experience that they get playing at practice, sitting and picking somebody's brain about what's it like bowling in different conditions, what's it like batting in different conditions. I think it's a great learning opportunity for international players and local players too. So the IPL for me has been a massive success.
And it's here to stay. So
Yeah.
if you were to bowl today and start with T20, you think you'd be a different bowler?
If
If
You're
you
talking
want-
about- oh,
No,
yes.
so your career. So
Oh,
as a
yes.
fast bowler, you've
Oh,
got so many
yes.
different skills that you,
by
skill sets
far.
that you need.
Look at
Slower
slower
look
balls
at-
and stuff would come into Makhaya's.
let me say this. Look at BOOMRAH. Now he's one of the most skillful bowler in the
Yeah.
world. It doesn't matter where he goes in the world now.
He can get
Everybody respects him. You look at Australian tour now. He's a captain. He takes 36 wickets. How's that? A single man, because of the talent that he has regarding of how he knows how to hit the right areas, and then being able to bowl the slow ball you're talking about. So it will have been a game changer. But the one thing that I always say that as well, don't forget your actual what you call it, they go back ball instead of being the one that does the slower ball back of the hand and all of that, and then you end up forgetting your stock ball, you call it.
Yeah, stock ball.
Yeah. So now what I've seen from the 2020s, the guys that they were selected from their countries as fast bowlers, all of a sudden now they no longer using their first choice, if I can put it in the right manner. They wanna bowl the backhand,
So all the
you know,
variation
you
is
know
more
what I
potent
mean,
than the
and
main
knuckle
weapon.
bowl
Yeah.
and all kind of stuff. You know, so they ended up
That'll kill Test cricket.
losing.
No, I mean, I think from a point of view where you, and I've sat in a few bowling meetings just because I need to know what the bowling plan is, because then
Yeah.
you want your best fielders in according to the plan, and the coaches, you talk to the players, you say just bowl your best ball, because sometimes on a slower wicket, everyone say, oh, you must bowl a slow ball bouncer, but if you're the guy that has to deliver the ball and you're not feeling confident to bowl your slow ball bouncer or back of the hand,
Yeah, you
you
shouldn't.
forget about your stock ball. Exactly
Yes,
what Makhaya
yes.
is saying. What is it that's got you to the
where
top of
you
the pile?
are, absolutely. Yeah.
And too often you're thinking you've got to do the sexy stuff, which is
Yeah.
back of the hand, bouncer,
You've got
use 5 different
6 deliveries.
in an over, 6 different deliveries. So I think that's where Chennai have been so successful. If you look at
Yeah.
Dhoni, he has a game plan, and they stick to it
Yeah.
rather than plan C after ball 3 and plan
Yeah.
D and plan
After-
E and
no.
OT.
So
was
What
when
did
he went
Dhoni
low.
say?
No,
He
Dhoni
doesn't talk much.
No, besides, but I think Dhoni he trusts every single person that is taking on the field, that he will do the job that is actually being selected for. He leaves everything to you. He just set the field and then he asks you, okay, are you happy with the field? I said, cool, and then you're just gonna bowl through that. He has never been a person that is gonna be on your head all the time, telling you, no, use this. Why don't you change the pace there and there? Because he knows that the reason why you are in his team, or he chose you to be part of Chennai, because of how good you
Your
are.
skill, yeah.
What's that like against, say, Graham Smith or Sean Pollock as captain?
You're talking about South
Yeah,
Africa
yeah, yeah.
now. No, I will say, there's a massive change, regarding of how they were, and then now joining the different captain. Even them, they have their own way of running things. Pollock will come to me and says, what you want to do? And then he will let you do what you feel you are comfortable with. And then Graham Smith was the same. And then I will communicate with Boucher regarding of how my head falls, or is it straight, how the ball gets into the gloves, all of those kind of things. He will be the person who come to me and say, no, I don't feel the ball in my hand. That means I'm not bending my back. As we always say, as a fast bowlers, you need to bend your back for you to see the ball carries to the wicket keeper. So he had that power behind him, with Pollock mid-on or mid-off, with Boucher as a wicket keeper. So all of those, they will pass into him, and then he will come in and discuss with me.
Does Makhaya Ntini ever feel that they should allow 3 or 4 bouncers?
Then
I'm just
No,
saying.
it's T20.
we had the freedom. We had the freedom.
No
In
restrictions.
those days, there were no restrictions.
There
You
wasn't
could
it 2?
no,
50 overs was different to test.
Yeah, but in the test match, you could bowl 6 out of 6. That's why we had Alan Donald. That will come and record everyone. That's why that's where the borderline was. If you remember the West Indies, Australia, that's when the borderline, because you could bowl bouncers the whole day.
Yeah.
So-
I remember Joel Garner bowling 6 bouncers to Sunil Gavaskar on radio when I was very young. I was thinking, that's so unfair. I mean, and in those days, no helmet and stuff.
Yes,
this
yes.
6'8" guy with a really
It
short.
would have been a good length ball, though.
Yeah,
Wouldn't have been
I
a
think
short ball.
he cracks that joke.
Yeah, I'm
himself.
sure. I hope so.
Yeah.
He's,
For Sunny,
yeah.
it was
And Joel
these
Garner
guys.
was really
Joe Garner.
6'8".
like a half volley.
It would have been a half volley.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about some of your contemporaries. What are your views on who would be the best bat out of the lot? And you don't have to, please the audience. You can go for whoever you think is the
because you wanted
Yeah,
to say
I mean, you
Tendulkar.
gave your
Okay, so who was the toughest guy you had to bowl to for you?
I look
Test
at
cricket.
No, I look at the players that are, or the countries that I played against. I played Australia, where Matthew Hayden would decide to run, to you from ball 1.
Yeah.
But I think my point of view, when I speak about him, he taught me more how to bowl to the left-handers, because of his aggressiveness. So I'd never back down in that sense, knowing that I could get you out anytime. But looking at the history of cricket, I think there's a guy that everybody forgot about. It's Steve Waugh.
Ah, yeah.
Steve Waugh was
True.
one of the solid guys, when you're talking about the game of cricket. For me, not even bowling at him, but just watching him. And then I could say that he would have given me a tough time.
Wow, Steve Waugh. Jonty, for you?
Well, I think in the generation for me where at the start of my career, the West Indians were powerful athletes already, or still. I mean, the Desmond Haynes, Phil Simmons. And then Brian Lara with that backlift of his he used to, for a skinny little guy, he used to hit the ball as hard. We always think Chris Gale, all these big strikers of the ball. But Brian with that backlift was so unusual, and it meant he hit the ball late. So he cut a lot of balls in my region, the backward point. Well,
You cost him centuries
Well,
because of unbelievable catches.
I had to
At
defend
point,
myself. I mean,
full-blooded square cuts.
I had to defend
square
myself because he hit the ball really, really hard. But
He must hate you.
Makhaya's
that.
point, I mean, Steve Waugh used to square cut a lot, so he was somebody that hit the ball really, really hard. In fact, broke my finger once in Sydney. And then obviously when playing in a generation where at the end of my career, Ricky Ponting was coming into sort of full form with Australia, and then Sachin throughout my career. But I think that the difficulty for a Sachin was, especially when you toured South Africa, I mean, a different story when you would come to India. But touring South Africa in the 90s, you would say, okay, one wicket we need. We need Sachin Tendulkar, because he had the technique and the temperament to play in any conditions, whereas a lot of the Indian players would struggle with the extra pace and the bounce. And,
They had one big partnership, as Azhar and him, in South Africa, where they went really at 6 runs and over.
That was Cape Town.
Cape Town, wasn't
when
it?
he met at Alan
Couldn't believe-
Donald.
Yeah.
Jeez.
berserk. It was almost like T20 batting before T20, and maybe the
Sure, I watched that,
Yeah.
and then I was like, where this guy come from?
fantastic. It was amazing to see.
And then remember, Donald as well was one of our heroes. We knew that. Watching Alan Donald, would even called him the White Lightning.
Lightning, yeah.
So with that paint
was
right
scary.
under his
Yeah.
eyes, he was, our hero. And then seeing him, struggling to bowl Tendulkar in our home turf, that was something else. And then seeing Tendulkar as well, playing so cleanly without even seem like he's having trouble. That was a test match as well.
Yes,
that
we were born to pick with Alan Donald because he was rude to the nicest guy in cricket, Rahul Dravid. Nobody can fight with Rahul Dravid. He's like Mr. Gentleman, And I do remember that.
the wall.
Yeah, the wall. The fingers were raised. I can't remember which finger, but fingers were raised at each other, and it was scary.
No, that's the test cricket.
I love that. Don't you think that should stay? A
If
little bit of banter
if you look at Shane Warne as well,
he's fantastic.
So when you look at that, when you're talking about the countries that it has, a lot of beef with the other ones, but the goodness of it only happens in that little circle. After that, everybody, is a buddy. But when we walk down the aisle wearing your country's colors, it's a different story.
But who was his bunny? South African Cullinan, was it?
Daryl Cullinan. Yeah.
He's buddy.
I heard all kinds
it's
of horrible
funny.
stories.
Yeah.
He's buddy, yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah.
No, he was.
No, he couldn't handle the flipper. I mean, he got a lot of us out with the flipper, but Daryl just.
And he would just give him lip the moment he came into bat. Like,
Yeah.
Well, the Australians would just give Shane the ball every time. There wasn't much
He
spoken.
knew that as well. That when he walks in, the only guy that has to worry about. But Cullinan, he had an unbelievable
huge
talent.
record otherwise.
Unbelievable talent.
Massive.
Did you
You know
ever
this-
did you ever fight with anyone on the field? Was there any
No, I was
opposition?
shouting from the ground, say, kill him! No, I never had a war with anybody. I enjoyed my cricket with every single person that I play against. Yeah.
Going forward, as we just look at the future, Champions Trophy, as we record this, what do you guys feel? South Africa looking pretty good. Pretty tight unit.
I think, from my perspective, I just enjoyed watching the South African team on and off the field. They understated. They're pretty much under the radar now. Most ICC events people go to, they're not going to win it, or there are better teams than them and superstars. So Claassens is one guy who probably is a superstar.
Rickleton.
Yeah, but again,
he's started,
understated. Just started his career. He's done really well in the SA20. good young player, but we also know in the subcontinent, opening the batting is probably the best time to bat. It gets slower and lower or tougher to bat later on. But by saying that, he's done really well in South Africa. It's quite tough to open the batting because there's a bit more pace and bounce, and there's something in it for the fast bowlers. So they have a team, I think, that plays like a team, and that's the key. We've seen it with New Zealand as well. Great unit, and the South Africans are. And it's actually good to come here and be slightly undercooked, or the feeling that everybody has.
No one's
is
talking
that,
about them.
Exactly.
So
It's a best place to operate.
If they
from.
do win, remember we had this conversation.
We
But,
knew, we saw it.
You know, adding what Jonty just said, you've got the young players, the likes of Stubbs, which is he was not playing.
Yeah.
And then you've got Klassen, which is as well, he was not part
I
of the
think
team.
Klassen is now scared the
You
hell
know.
out of everyone. He's just that special talent.
You know, the one thing that I enjoy about that, you know, you have those players that everybody is looking forward to see them play. You know, and then you have those ones that nobody knows them, you know, so the likes of Ringleton, yes, Van der Dissen as well played very well, Makram played very well. So you have those players that nobody really give them a hope that they can do well, and all
the
of a
bowling
sudden
is
they
solid.
do
The
well.
bowling is now solid. You've got
Oh, yeah.
Rabada, you've got Ngidi, you've got the tall left armer,
Janssen,
Janssen.
yeah.
Maharaj. Maybe one spinner short. They don't play Shamsi and Maharaj together on these wickets, which I didn't
I
understand.
think they should, but I think they worried about their betting lineup, that they don't want to,
Both spinners.
get to have
Number
Rabada,
7. Yeah.
Ngidi,
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
all of a sudden you are left with
you
the
stop at
6
7.
guys, so you stop. You've got 4 that you're not 100% that they can give you runs, so that could be. They are
But I
cards.
do feel both South Africa and New Zealand in the subcontinent are the most improved teams. So somehow or the
yes.
other they've imbibed the culture or whatever, and they've
Oh,
got a
yes.
very positive approach to playing here, which maybe you guys set the precedent, and now they're reaping the rewards. But they come here.
I
and they
think
do
it's
better and
not
better.
just the positive, because teams like England have been, the Baz ball, whether it's red ball or white ball, they've been really aggressive. They pick players who hit the ball hard,
It's not
and they
most-
kind of go one pace. But I think where South Africa have been really good and where New Zealand are excellent is in the field. So there's the sort of tenacity, and it's so hard to score runs, because if the wicket is slightly slow or slightly low and you bowl a little bit straighter, you don't give them width, and you bowl to your field, and you've got a good fielding unit that backs it up, it's hard to score the boundaries, and there's no easy ones in the circle. And I think that's the key, is that you can actually strangle a teams that are accustomed to standing there and hitting boundaries.
I feel
it's
Jonty
difficult.
is somehow bringing it back to him. It's all about the fielding.
It's important.
Where would you
Lesson
be?
learned.
Where would you be without?
Even for us as bowlers, we all say that if there's no boundary, you bowl the grover.
True.
So they are the ones that actually stop all of that. So what he's saying is actually important. That every single person who walks on the field expect the ball to come to him.
Well, we have a theory, because, like the Big Bang Theory, we're not sure how the world was formed. The same thing about the New Zealand-India series that just went, in the end of last year, where we lost 3-love. They beat us with one spinner, or 1.5 spinners.
Yeah.
Because they had Ijaz Patel, the lefty, and then they had this guy, Glenn Phillips, who's a wicketkeeper who spins the ball occasionally, because there's another wicketkeeper in. And I think they used, they didn't use another, I think Satner in one game.
Yeah.
That was so 1.5 spinners basically went through our lineup, literally, which nobody can explain with the committees that have been put together, and science is trying to examine data, whatever.
Well, let us know when you find out, because
Jonty, my worry is IPL is killing it for us, because you guys, everything's getting more and more comfortable, and sooner or later everybody's going to play spin easily and etc., and bowl better on these wickets.
Probably you're gonna say only
Ban
two.
the IPL. is
You're
what I mean.
You're gonna say you only need 2 overseas
Overseas.
players.
Yeah, I think that might happen. Yeah. At some point.
Why?
Send all the international
I
players
know, I
back
want
to.
the international players. I'm just saying, because they're getting better. You are getting better in these
What
conditions.
do you want then? Don't you want cricket to be
I'm very global with cricket. I'm not one of those
So
jingoistic
if
guys.
you
I like
want
to-
India to be the one that beats everybody,
No, just
So what do
don't
you
beat
say?
everybody. Just don't lose at home, which was almost impossible. And we lost in 2.5 days in 2 of the test matches.
no, we were watching that.
Sorry? Okay, so as we end, we go back to the Indian International Masters League, which now the entire veterans, if you want to call it that, circuit is really robust, and there's lots happening. Do you guys actually train? No disrespect.
No, we do train.
Yeah.
So you actually get into it.
If you watch the first game, that tells you that the guys are really put an effort to everything.
Yeah.
It's not just an
But some of them wear
entertainment.
really large shirts, Makhaya, so you can't tell if the stomach's been out or whatever. I mean, it's-
No, I'm talking from the training point of view, and then
Yeah.
putting an effort at least to get your eye on the
so you have
ball.
your nets like you used to and
Of
all
course.
that, and full
Oh,
on
yeah, we running in
Yeah.
fielding drills like
Yes.
Jonty
Well,
Rhodes used to do.
He went for extra practice yesterday.
yesterday. Nobody went
Because you've
dropped the
today's no, just because today's you eating into our practice session today.
No,
so
we're done. We're done.
So no, I'm just saying. We've missed practice because Makhaya's put an extra effort. He went
Jonty,
yesterday to
You
play.
called and said, have a long interview. I don't want to do
Yeah,
any fielding.
yeah. Well,
You've-
on my behalf, but not Makhaya's. He wants to practice. He
that
wants
you,
to
Makhaya?
practice at all time. Yeah,
Guys,
he
I know
will.
this story with Makhaya is unbelievable but true. You actually used to run to the ground. Forget in
Yes.
South Africa, everywhere in the
Yes,
world. Is this
everywhere
true?
in the world.
That's
I used to
ridiculous.
I used to try and figure out, okay, how far from the hotel to the ground, and then get to find a map. You know, okay, this is the route I need to take. This is the route that is easier. Every single ground.
Yeah, he couldn't follow the bus because he was too fast. He was ahead of the bus. So before GPS. You know.
Yeah, that was before
Yeah.
Days when you
GPS.
bowled 20, 25 overs in the day and you just
it
drunk
didn't
20
matter.
kilometers.
He told you earlier, didn't
It
he? He used to
didn't
run next to
matter.
his horse
Yeah.
as a jockey. What kind of
Yeah.
jockey runs next to his horse? I'm still trying to work it out. But
No, he
Yeah,
beat
man.
the horse.
no, he ran next to it. No, he didn't beat the horse.
Could you ever? How long would you last? Okay, this sounds sexual. How long will you last with the horse? I'm
No,
sorry.
you know, you've got what they call it. Horses that never ride what's called long distance.
The wild
or-
horses.
What do you mean a wild?
I don't know. I'm not trying to understand.
Endurance rider. What?
They're unrideable. The wild horses you can't just get.
No,
on
he
them.
would. They would. It was
No,
his
you-
transportation. It was
Yeah,
Makhaya
we
transport.
use them.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, come on, fellows. We used to ride those things without any rope in it.
Yeah, no
Yeah, you
bridle,
just-
no
yeah,
saddles.
raw.
Yeah,
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 you just jump on it.
Like a bicycle.
But just
Yeah.
remember, in cricket you get a new ball after 80 overs. Doesn't happen on a horse.
Yeah,
But if you, after 80 overs, it's even better. But that's the best time.
no saddle, no
Yeah.
saddle, no.
That's
I
no,
know.
no settle.
Our interviewers.
Imagine-
Yeah, new,
Get on horse
new
and
balls,
saddle.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah, new balls, please.
Yeah, no settle.
Like
man.
tennis.
Cheers,
Okay, cool.
guys.
Lovely.
Oh, we have AMAs as well. They've got to go, but we'll quickly do a couple. This is people writing in. Let's see. Of course, you guys know how many fans you have here. Wherever you go, still recognize that kind of thing. Okay. Jonty, be honest. How many times did you wish you could jump onto the field and take the catches yourself while watching? Supriya.
Yeah, no, as Supriya, as a fielding coach, I know my job is done and my time in the sun is all over. I've never once actually envied any of the players. I think the fielding's gone to a new level and a next level. So quite happy to be a coach
But-
and sit in the dugout.
But there must be some thoughts when
Nah,
when it's
not
spilled
at
and
all.
stuff, and
No, not at all. I mean,
your eyebrows go up, thinking, I
Not
can
really.
run
I
that
mean,
race.
I've done commentary work before, and you keep hearing these. Makhaya talks about the easy catch. No. There's no such thing as an easy catch. Ball can go in the sun. It can lose it. There is. So I think the nice thing about being a former player when you're coaching is that you realize mistakes do happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important.
Rachin Ravindra got injured in the tri-series before at the boundary with the ball, with the lights in his eyes and he got hit in the
he
head.
got injured,
And then he's
yeah.
a fantastic fielder. I got really scared watching that. What do you think happened?
No, ball goes into the lights. Sometimes the sky is clear. So in the day, at night, there's different reasons for, guys like Chris Gale used to hit the ball above the lights. So when it goes into the darkness to try and find it again, the depth perception is quite difficult. Clear blue sky with no clouds in it. Depth perception again, very difficult. So there's
And then-
techniques to try and counter that, but there is no such thing as an easy catch.
But at the same time, just to add on to Jonty, you must remember the ball is coming faster than you expected as well. So the moment you blink, you're almost hitting your hands. So that's another thing. Probably when he lost it through the lights, and then he thought that, okay, he's going to wait for it until it clears up in his eyes, but it was too late.
No, there's no such. I'm grateful. My days are done. They really are. I mean, I'm happy being the coach. I'm never going. I would have caught
This
that.
kid is
Never.
a fabulous fielder, so it was
Oh, most
scary.
definitely.
Yeah.
It does happen.
Most definitely. We knew when the ball goes to Jonty, you must start celebrating.
Hey, did he ever drop?
Yes.
Nah.
Do you remember, Makhaya, has he ever dropped while you were on the field? Or
Not in
Not
my
of your
eyes,
bowling.
though. No.
Not your bowling.
Oh, you
Only
won't
Gibbs,
remember.
only Gibbs did it,
Yeah.
and then he cost us the World Cup.
Oh, the world. Ah. Okay, how was it, Makhaya, the transition to you from being the first change bowler in Test cricket to sharing the new ball? that big step up when the ball
No,
becomes a man?
the first one, being a first changer was a learning curve. As a junior guy coming up, you can't jump into the front line. You need to wait for Pollock or Alan Donald to finish their spell, then you take your one. So when Alan Donald retired, I knew that the only
You were
person...
faster than, say, Pollock, so wouldn't that be a consideration?
But
no disrespect.
Pollock is a senior player. You can't take, a new ball out of your senior player.
But I do remember Clive Lloyd giving the ball to Malcolm Marshall one day, and Michael Holding Roberts were on the field still. But it was like, now he's the fastest. That's the way it is. It's like the old lion and then the new
But
lion.
that it has to be something that has been shared before you even walk on the field. You can't just, when you get on the field, the ball get thrown to you.
That's true.
That's
a bit embarrassing.
So...
I mean, there's also different ways of using the new ball. Vernon Philander is not the fastest guy,
No,
but
but
he
he's
just
a new-
bowls
yeah.
superbly with a new
Swing
ball.
it,
Just
yeah.
great and great areas.
Yeah.
And that's where Polly had an ankle operation. Because when Sean Pollock started his career, he used to hit more players than I've seen any other fast bowler.
Really?
Because he bowled from really close to the stumps. So as a batter, someone comes from you with a bit of an angle, to get underneath the ball or inside the ball is a lot easier. But Polly, because he came from literally in front of the umpire, it was wicket to wicket. So he was very much a body line kind of bowler.
Yeah.
And Sean had pace.
Yeah, I remember.
So Sean was
that.
quicker than
Yeah.
what we saw later.
Yeah, most
But,
definitely.
What John is saying is actually it brings back their memories as well, because they had an ad where him and Lance Klusner, they put a helmet on the pole, and then they will consistently hit the helmet. And I look at it and say, how does this guy do these things? So what you're saying now, it makes sense up until they did.
Okay, they may have cut the camera.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And chuck the ball.
We don't
No
know that.
CGI
But
those
from
days.
our
No,
point of
we
view,
used to do the hard
it was
work.
theirs, So if they were selling lies, cut
There you go. Okay, one more for Makhaya. Quickly. This one is, I want to ask this. Who was the best captain you played under?
Ansikronya.
Yeah, let's talk about him for a second. I was a huge fan. Let's
Yeah,
forget the
Nancy
second
Crowe,
part and all that
yeah.
happened. What a talented guy he
Nancy
was.
Crowe,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he was a fabulous leader. Go
Oh,
ahead.
yes. The reason why I say that, Hansi was never being a guy that, from our point of view, was never a guy for me that will let you fail. Even if you as the youngsters will come towards you and tell you, okay, this is how the game gets played. I remember we played in Dhaka against India, the trophy that they played, the Champions Trophy that they played. That's the one we won it.
Yeah, 98, yeah.
98. He came to me and says, listen, there's no bowler has ever bowled a maiden over to Sachin Tendulkar. That on its own, for me, it was a tick on the box. That someone that is your captain would actually come and actually praise you what you have just achieved to a certain batter, which is Sachin Tendulkar. So for me, learning from him, and being guided by him, it was one of my favorite.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, all said and done. Last question. Why Jonty? I mean, no, these people know your personal life more than us. Why did you name your daughter India?
Yeah, easy. I mean, my wife's a yoga teacher. She practiced Vedanta philosophy. So for her, India is a very spiritual
So
home.
it's much more than the cricket.
So yeah. And then I think from a point of view where I've seen, obviously Sachin with Arjun, Sunny G with Rohan, I've seen in India lots of pressure put on the sons of great cricketers.
Right.
And even though India's obviously a daughter, and I'm not a great cricket player, but I've got a reputation in India. When she was born, 2015, there was also a real focus on the girl child, and she was born not far from here, Santa Cruz in
he really
in
knows
Mumbai.
the city.
Yeah, not far from here. And it was more a case of my experience going, okay, so I'm not putting any pressure on her to be a child of Jonty. This is her journey, because when I ride a motorbike, my infield in India.
Oh, you have an Enfield?
Yeah.
This
I
guy's
know.
an
Listen,
Indian?
when
You're a waste of a South African.
when you
Give me back your passport.
Exactly. I'm off to FRR Road to extend my thing right now. But it was more a case of, okay, so whatever happens, you embrace it. Because as athletes, we always seize the day, carpe diem. You got to get out there and make it yours. But India had taught me and more as a cricket coach, as a player, you don't leave the hotel unless you go to the ground in the airport.
Yeah.
Maybe Makhaya is brave enough to get out, but the rest of the guys will stay in their rooms and not leave the hotel unless they had to. So for me, being on two wheels and just going every day turning right and Nariman Point, heading to Wankhede Stadium.
Wow.
There was, something different
Bombay
happened.
boy.
Something different happened. I'm a Mumbaiker. Something different happened every single day, and that's what India taught me, was to embrace that, and that's why my reference to calling India is that I will embrace whatever she does. I'm here to support her. I'm not here telling her where she has to go and what she has
But
to
just
do.
for the record, if
Yeah.
there was a second option,
Yeah.
I mean, just for her years later when she sees the interview or people tell her, what would have been the second option other than India?
There was no other option.
Pakistan.
No, they were. No, leave him hanging. No, I'm not taking that.
Do comedy, bro. That brought the house down. We better end here.
Right
Quick
then.
while we're ahead.
Good time, then. Love you guys. Thank you. India. Only
that
India.
would be great if you had 2 kids.
I got to. I didn't. I mean, yeah, we actually, he's a little boy, also born in Mumbai, 2017. And that's the thing. I mean, IPL 2015, India was born, Mumbai Indians won the trophy. 2017, Nathan was born, Mumbai Indians won the trophy. Mrs. No, I won't go there. How many more children can we have? Winning trophies, obviously, with kids.
Score on the pitch, score
but
off the pitch. What do you know?
No. So IPL has been a very productive year were productive years for the Rhodes family.
Productive in
very.
the
very.
actual sense.
Well, I mean, Modi ji said make in India. So there
Oh
we
my
were.
God, we end here. Makhaya.
Thank you.
I'm coming to Cape Town. We're switching. All right, that was Makhaya Ntini, Jonty Rhodes, legends of the game, real legends. Very modest people, don't want to talk about their achievements, but go ahead, watch the legends, and if it's too late, watch the legends again on one of those OTT thingies available. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cyrus.
Cyrus says every time, Cyrus says, जब ये कहे तुम सुनो, please. तमीज से बात करना है ना, important people यार.